rain had been falling for hours, soaking the forest floor until it turned into black mud. The group of 4 campers huddled close around a fading fire, their only light against the endless night. Every crackle of thunder made the trees shiver as if they were alive. The forest was too quiet even for a storm. Something was listening, just beyond the glow of the flames. Sarah tightened her coat and whispered, "Do you hear that?" The others froze, their breaths turning white in the damp, cold air. There was no wind, yet the branches above them creaked and groaned like old bones. The rain suddenly seemed softer, almost muffled, like the sound was being swallowed. Beyond the campfire's light, the darkness pressed closer. Tom tossed another log into the fire, sparks shooting into the wet night. "It's just the storm," he muttered, but his voice shook. The shadows around the trees twisted unnaturally, stretching longer than the fire should allow. A low whistle echoed through the woods, slow and deliberate. It wasn't the wind, it was something mimicking breath. They had heard the legends before hiking into Blackwood Forest. Old stories of travelers vanishing in the rain, their camps left abandoned with fires still burning. Locals swore the forest itself was alive, feeding on the lost and the desperate. The rain, they said, was its voice, and tonight it was louder than ever. The fire sputtered as if struggling for air. Sarah clutched her flashlight, shining it into the trees. For a split second, she swore she saw a pale face staring back at her, eyes black and hollow. She gasped, but when she blinked, it was gone. The others laughed nervously, but no one really thought it was funny. "Maybe we should pack up," Jenna suggested, her voice barely audible over the rain. No one answered. They were too busy straining their ears, trying to catch the sound again. Drip, drip, drip. Not just rain, but something heavier sliding off the branches. Something wet, too thick to be water. Suddenly the fire snapped loud, making all of them jump. A shadow darted across the clearing, moving too fast to be human. The campers screamed, backing away from the light. Tom grabbed a stick from the fire and held it like a weapon, but the rain hissed, extinguishing the flame instantly. Darkness swallowed them whole. The forest came alive with whispers, dozens of voices overlapping. Some sounded like children, others like their own voices echoed back at them. Every word was unintelligible, yet full of malice. The rain pounded harder, as if celebrating their fear. Sarah flicked her flashlight on, but the beam only stretched a few feet before dissolving into mist. Behind her, something moved, its wet footsteps sinking into the mud. She spun around, but nothing was there. Then she realized the footsteps hadn't stopped. They were circling. Jenna screamed as something yanked her hood back, dragging her toward the trees. The others grabbed her arms, pulling desperately, but the forest was stronger. Invisible hands clawed at her, nails scraping skin, pulling her deeper into the dark. Her scream cut through the storm, then vanished. All that remained was the sound of rain. Tom dropped to his knees, sobbing. "We're not leaving, are we?" His words hung in the air, unanswered. Sarah and Mike stood frozen, staring into the shifting shadows. Shapes moved in the distance, figures tall and thin, swaying unnaturally with the rain. Their faces gleamed pale in the lightning. The fire reignited by itself, bursting into flames as if mocking them. Around it stood the figures, no longer shadows, but bodies twisted and broken. Their mouths hung open, yet no sound came out, only streams of water pouring endlessly. Sarah clutched Mike's arm, but he was shaking uncontrollably. He whispered, "They're the ones who never left." One by one, the figures stepped forward, their soaked footsteps loud against the mud. Sarah tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move, as if the forest had rooted her in place. The whispers grew louder, now inside her head, filling her skull with unbearable noise. The pale figures opened their mouths wider, water gushing out like a flood. She choked on the air, tasting rot. Mike swung his flashlight, striking one of the figures. It passed through like mist, but the cold burned his skin. He screamed, dropping the light into the mud where it fizzled and died. In the sudden darkness, more hands emerged from the soil, grabbing at their ankles. The forest wasn't letting them go. Sarah fell to the ground, her face pressed into the wet earth. She tried to scream, but muddy water filled her throat. She clawed at the ground, but it only pulled her deeper, swallowing her whole. Her last sight was the fire, burning brightly, surrounded by faceless silhouettes. The storm roared as if sealing her fate. By morning, the forest was silent again. The campfire still crackled, untouched by rain. 4 backpacks sat neatly by the logs, but no footprints led away. Only the mud carried the truth, covered in handprints too large to be human. And Blackwood Forest waited, patient, for the next fire to burn.